So this shot that I've been working on, which is a derivative of, I've been messing with making tiles that I could use in Blender. And cut! Can we do it again? Alright, cool. I just wanted to show my work process on this Midjourney adaptation of tile making in Midjourney with images that I have, combining them, putting them together, see if I could use it. I'm thinking the goal is creating backdrops for video games, for just possibly previs notions of trying to come up with, like anything I think that you do on the computer, it kind of breeds an element of, wait a minute, what if I do this? Yeah, I'd like to do that or whatever. And I'm looking at I'm looking at what I've been working on now, and I'm thinking right off the bat, it would be really nice to create kind of like in that style of Ian Hubert, where the window behind me, which looks like a blue screen window. I could probably key that out. Actually, I'll probably do that for shits and giggles. But to key out that blue and then put in this background as if I'm in I'm in a dark space with a. But nevertheless, it all started with these images, which is this one image. And mind you, it's like I have a collection of thousands of images that I just, because I'm I love these images. I don't really know exactly how this one was made. It's a drawing. It looks like a drawing. I don't know. It's a bit mad, but I love it. And I saved it. And the reason I can justify Midjourney as not being stealing somebody's job or anything like that, as far as I'm concerned, is, yeah, I'm kind of using people's images, but I'm using them in making, I guess, to a degree, a homage. If I was doing this out of like trying to make money, which I'm not. I mean, yeah, I need to make money, but this is more about kind of just trying to make something that has the best elements of images that I love. And this one kind of does it. It's like, as far as like, if you look at this, it's just the way that it it's like the textures and stuff. But the other image is this one, which and a lot of these images are just it looks like there's something that somebody, I have no idea what that is. It actually looks like a photo montage. Now that I look at it, definitely looks like a photo montage. Could be really old Bauhaus kind of crazy mad, but it's like it's a nice image. So the notion that this is kind of taking those images, and there's a whole bunch of them. And so when you do this, you get all these different varieties. Like, I like all this kind of real subtle stuff, but I decided to go with this one. And then from that, I took it into Substance 3D sampler, and I just pulled all the maps. I don't want to show you that because it's like, if you don't know, go look at a YouTube video. It's like it creates maps to where you can kind of somewhat force. It's almost like embossing a coin. Like, initially, that's what I was thinking when I was pulling these maps. Is like, I'll just make coins or facades on buildings, where they did like a semi kind of the plinth or the top piece of the Greek buildings had those little like areas where the Greek gods were there with the angels around them and stuff. It wasn't them completely. It was they were just kind of, and with the clever use of shadow and stuff, they were able to kind of get that look to where it's like, shit, man, it looks like people are really up there. And because it's far away, so all I'm doing is kind of utilizing that same thing with this whole 3D, like, because I'm just pushing it enough 3D to where if you bring it into a 3D program, light will react to that space, regardless of the fact that it's kind of shallow. It will react to that, and that's kind of all I need. And again, it's like I'm doing this kind of work, which isn't work, it's research. When you have a job sitting in front of you, it's just bad mojo. Because you're like, it's kind of like going to a party and somebody kind of saying, oh, Ray's so funny. Ray, tell that funny story that you always, tell something funny, make us laugh. It's like, fuck off. It's like, I can't make you laugh. I mean, yeah, I can, but not if I've been put on the spot. And I think when you have downtime, I think it is really important to do shit like this, which is like what the whole group is about. Why Patrick's like pulling crazy stuff out of his backside as well, and it's like, you know, there's some nice stuff, and it's like I've seen some other things. It is growing, and I'm excited about it, and it's like, and I'm kind of at a point right now today where I'm like, okay, how much time of the day do I spend looking at all this content that's coming out of this group, or how much do I spend actually kind of contributing to it? And it's like, so I'm kind of in this position where I'm contributing and I'm throwing shit down, and it's like, yeah, you should make Sunday the day where you look at everything that's out there. Like, you know, it's just like I was looking at something Patrick did and I realized he did a hotkey there, and I don't know what he did. When you changed out the texture emission to a black body emission, I want to know how you did that, because I was like, fuck, how did you do that? And it's, you know, I would have gone down a rabbit hole this afternoon trying to figure that out, but I stopped. And I'm working on this, which I'm not working on now because it's rendering awfully slow. But the render does look really beautiful. Thank for everybody that posted stuff on rendering, because I just pulled all that stuff together and put it together. And again, I just want to point out the fact that just using my render tab in Blender is a lifesaver. If you have a machine that's crashing and stuff, I kind of don't crash anymore. If I'm going to render anything, I don't do it in my layout window. And the cool thing, and it's like I kind of get the feeling that it kind of knows what it's doing, because if I'm working, say, in the layout window, and I turn this window into and like I don't want to mess with anything right now because I'm in the process of rendering. It's rendering here. I'm on a frame 111 of 1350, and it's taking anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes. But I don't fucking care, because it really looks nice. But if I go into the layout, like say if I in the layout and I have this window open and it's in the render, like I've clicked on the render button, and then I go into here to render and I click render, it'll render this and I can look at it, and it renders it really much faster. I mean, an incredible amount. But if I go back in the layout, it's turned this back into the flat, you know. So I kind of get the feeling that I'm doing something that the machine, or not the machine, but the program was meant to do. That it's you know, I think if you do everything in one window, it has a tendency to crash more. And I mean, I can't quantify this idea. You know, I could if I sit around and do a lot of trial and error, kind of like hit or miss problem solving, but I don't want to do that. So, but anyway, this is the shot. Mind you, this is another thing that's really mad that I'm trying to figure that. Okay, so I put my little guy in here. Like, okay, so real world scale. Everybody's talking real world scale on this stuff. So I'm like, right, this is pretty big fucking stuff. So I put a little guy, and the little guy, you know, like basically where my mouse is right there, that's about the height of a human, I think, you know. So I had to push my camera way back. So if you look at this, this is the shot, okay. This is the back plate, which is this stuff here on the back. And both of these are just texture maps with displacement on it that I made through Midjourney. And then I have like a volumetric box around it to create the light. And that's that piece right there, okay? So, and if you zoom way in to give you an idea how big this thing is, that's my camera. So it's like you zoom out, you know, you zoom out and it's like, it's fucking huge. So I'm having a lot of issues. I I would say one of the real world issues that I'm having is I couldn't, and I don't know, I'd be into somebody like pointing me in this direction, setting up the camera to do focus plane, and I don't know if it's because I've just really blown this way out as far as it like being like, yeah, that thing's about, the back plate is, at least at that like 3 or 4,000 feet back in real world scale from the front. And I set up the camera and I put it on like, these are the settings I have it. I have it on an f-stop of 0.5. I'm using the f-stop. I have the depth of field where you could click on a helper, a little helper thing. So I made a helper thing and I put it like that's the helper right there. So I got the helper right on the front plane. But I put that on here and I had it clicked on. I was using the autofocus. It says use this object to define the depth of field for the point of view. So I clicked on that and it's like I could not for the life of me get this back plane to be, it's 126 millimeter. You can't help, it's like when you have a camera with that, like a telephoto lens, you can't help but make your background blurry. But yeah, it's like I could not figure out how to get the focus to work. And that's like one of those things to put on that list of like things I need to learn about Octane. Because I could do it in the normal cycles, but I can't. I don't know. I got to figure it out. But it's like I got to figure out when I have the time to sit down and look into this. Because a lot of times it's like you get nowhere, and at the point where you get nowhere, then it's just like, oh, then I got to spend 3 hours on the internet looking for something, and then I'll get distracted by a video game or, a new camera that just came out or something completely different, or I'll look on the school thing, the Blender Octane, and then I'll get lost in a rabbit hole there, and I mean, I go, where'd that thing go? And I got this book, which is actually an old sketchbook. One of the things when I came back is that I had all these old sketchbooks, and you get really excited about having this sketchbook, and you write stuff down because it's like I'm going to be remembering stuff. I'm going to remember stuff. I'm going to write this stuff down. But then it's like you don't really kind of like organize your sketch, or at least I don't, to where it's like, oh, this is where I find that stuff. It's like you just kind of look through it. But for the most part, like if you look, like this is the first pages, but the end of them, like I've never, and I have boxes of unfinished sketchbooks. So my nephew gave me shit about it. So this is an old sketchbook that I'm forcing myself to fill. So I'm just writing down and organizing stuff and then trying to remember stuff to do. But then it's like I have to try to figure out where I wrote that stuff down. But nevertheless, there's a lot to do. Always a lot to do. And we're all running out of times. So that's the motivation. But anyway, ramble. But this is what I'm working on now. And I really like it. And I'm kind of thinking as far as the aspects of work that I've done and work that I could continue to do, that could utilize all these elements that I'm working with here. It's not so much my ability to render this stuff. If I was working on a big job and a big film or whatever, I could just show them this, and then some wizard who's Houdini, could probably do just as good of a job, or a better job and a faster job because they got faster machines and so on and so forth. And it's like I can't compete with that, But like I like the stuff I'm doing, and I think it's better, not because it's like I did it, but because I'm not prompting it. I'm giving it images and I'm making it think about doing something. And it really kind of seems to be an incredibly unbiased combination of references that I like. And that's the only way to work with it, I think, is like you're not... Because I really think that when you start prompting in Midjourney. Like if I were to say sci-fi landscape, whatever this is, or if I bring this, it's like, I mean, what I could do, all right, I'm going to waste some time here. Okay, so I have one of these images here, all right, and I know in Midjourney, I can say describe. So I'm going to say describe, and then I'm going to bring this image in. So I'm going to put that in there, and then I have it described. It's thinking. It just described everything, and then it's gonna recreate it based on the. All right, so let's look. Okay, so this first one, pipes in an industrial atmosphere, pattern free in the style of matte painting, columns and totems, industrial brutalism, layered imagery with subtle irony, burned, charred, round forms, transparent layers. So if we look at it, this is all shit. It's all incredibly stylized. It's all exactly what thinking you want. And I think for the most part, that's kind of what everybody wants, because this shit sells, This stuff is like, yeah, I could have this to sell my lighting system or whatever. But it is just so... The beauty about art, as I said on my fucking soapbox, is that there is an element of uncertainty about it. Nobody knows. Art is beautiful because nobody knows where it's going to come from. Whether you like Beeple, nobody really saw that coming. That guy just, he's a Midwest guy. Just started making really cool shit. And then everybody's like, oh, this is cool shit. Fuck, we gotta get on it. You can't do that. It's like true art, like Dada and all that stuff with, Man Ray putting a bicycle wheel on a stool and crazy shit. They were all just trying, it's like you're just trying to find a different way out of everything. And it's not like it's good or bad, it's the exploration. AI, as it's currently set up with this prompting, it's not art, I'm sorry. And yeah, people should be mad, I guess. What it is it's... I don't want to get into it. I'm getting on a soapbox. I don't want to do it. But anyway, that's shit. Let's just look at all of them and just kind of agree. This one here, a black-gray industrial building containing many pipes in the style of Beeple. Hazy, dreamlike quality, digital symmetry, densely patterned imagery, rounded forms, environmental portraitures. And again, it's beautiful and amazing, but it looks like everything else. It really does. The last one, a digital design of an industrial pipe or pipeline in the style of haunting structures, hazy atmosphere, realistic detail, monumental forms, symmetrical. And again, that's, I'll have to say that that one, this top right one, I like it, but it's not, I don't know, you could do something like, it's like, okay, so if we take the top one, I mean, this is turning into a Midjourney. So be it. And then what I'm going to do for shits and giggles is I'm going to vary it strongly, but I'm going to put a -- tile prompt in it, which will make it a texturable tile, because that's all I really need. So if I'm asking it to do something that's kind of reining back to the notion of what I need, then let's see if it can do that. Let's see. Let's not put it, out in the barn just yet. And then this last one. See, now this one's better. I like the fact that I'm doing a tutorial trying to teach you how to make things not look like everything else that everybody else is trying to. Please tell me how to make money with this stuff. Please. Like, that's kind of nice as far as structural and the use of the images that I gave it and the lighting effects. I mean, it is what it is. So let's do the same thing. Let's do this with this one. And then let's introduce a -- tile into the mix and submit. And they're kind of cool, I guess. But again, they just look... I don't want to look... I don't like the stylization of this stuff. Even though it's really beautiful, it just doesn't... It looks like AI art. And that's a weird kind of like thing to say, because you're basically saying that AI art is trying really hard to be human. And I'm saying that the problem with AI art is it's trying too hard to be human, I think, is the problem. But in order for AI, it's a conflict of terms, because in order for AI art to look really good, it has to, it's like AI is basically artificial intelligence. It's like the notion of it eventually becoming a sanctioned being. becoming human, having flaws, and so on and so forth. And it's I think everything. I don't want to get into it. I'm soapbox, no. But nevertheless, I'll show you what I've rendered with this, and it's taking really long. But I did a lot of didgery-pokery with this. This is the original image. I kind of had it. I didn't make it so contrasty so I could mess with it after the fact. Like if I wanted the fog, I should have, in theory, what I should have done is I should have rendered two planes. I should have rendered the back plane and then the front plane. But then, that's rendering time and I can't be bothered. And it's like, because actually what I wanted to do was make the foreground warmer and make the background colder, like do an orangey kind of, and then make the background kind of like a bluish, very subtle blue. Like fog, just all subtle. But it's like I figure if I do a semi-grayscale, then I can do all that and post. So initially, what I did was I made it look like it was brighter from the top, because this pattern, what's going to go on with this is it's moving down, and it's just going to move down, and it's going to move down, and it's going to go. So it would be something like in this window, or if I put that in the window, which I'll do at a later date. Look at me, I'm in space and this is in the background, and we could talk and so on and so forth. So I put light coming in from the top and then I put dark on the bottom. And it's just that. That's all it is. But that kind of gives me that look, and it's, it'll just continue on. And it'll trick you into thinking that I actually rendered a bunch of stuff, but I didn't. And then I did an adjustment layer, which is a lot of stuff. It's I did a color correction, a Lumetri color thing in After Effects, which is kind of fun. It's a bit of a rabbit hole, but it gave me my warm. I've kind of given up on the blues. I could in theory, if I could, all I have to do is pull a matte from this front plate and then throw it on top and then use that to pull another adjustment layer to get the blues, which I might do. At the moment, I just can't be bothered. It's like, it's kind of nice to just kind of nail it all without too much work. Oh, and then what I did, because darkness is kind of like the absence of color. The absence of color is darkness, one or the other. And it's like we're light. It's like, because what you see when you look out is the light bouncing off of it and the light bouncing into your eye, which is basically what 3D programs do, because that's what we do. It's like seeing the light, that's how it bounces off. So in darkness, you don't see colors as much. This looks wrong here because it shouldn't be that way. It should just be null and void of color. It should, but there's a gradual line of trying to figure out how to do that. And I did that by I just created a mask, and then I heavily blended or blurred the top and the bottom of the mask, keeping the sides. So it gave me kind of it's subtly less. It looks a lot better. It just looks like somebody who's just gone crazy with filters and stuff, which is not really what I want to do. So I got that, and I'm quite chuffed with it, I'll have to say. Not like I'm patting myself on the back, but it does what I kind of want. But as long as I can marry both of them at the last frame to where the back image is the same and the front image is the same, then I have a working loop, which is kind of the only thing I really want to do. I like loops. They're my heroine, basically. Complicated loops, like trying to figure out how to make something, multiple sides, things going in, things going out of the camera. It's like, how can you get away with doing things to where create a seamless texture that is seamlessly animated? I don't really know what I want to use them for, but I will make these and collect them, and then so I hope this was entertaining. If it's not, then I guess it doesn't really matter, because I will be watching this in 10 years to wonder who actually made this video. Or maybe in the hopes that I'll remember, oh yeah, I was doing that. Shit, I could pick that stuff up right now and move forward. So, yeah, it's my little memory block for later on in my life, I guess, where I can look at it and kind of go, that was cool. So I'll talk to you later.